Hey there, everybody. I'm welcoming back Colin Plume onto my channel here. He's the president of Noble Gold. And in this conversation, we talk about the coming uptick in gold prices and how if you invest wisely, you might be able to benefit off that. Check it out. All right, welcome back to the channel, the resident gold expert, Colin Plume. How's it going, Colin?
Good, Jordan. How you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for joining me again here.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited to be here. A lot to talk about.
Yeah, so first question I've been seeing lately, let's talk about gold. I think I saw this article about an Egyptian billionaire investing a crap ton of money into gold. He's saying that gold prices are going to rise. So, what do you see happening in the very near future? Do you think he's correct? Do you think it's a wise choice to be investing that much money into gold?
Well, there's been a number of billionaires and hedge fund managers over the last year that have been putting money into gold. This billionaire, this Egyptian billionaire, is interesting because he's a very forward-thinking entrepreneur. They had a family amass, I think, 800 or 900 million about 10 years ago, and then he decided to invest into North Korea. Investing in North Korea, he was the first company to invest in telecom in North Korea, turned that fortune into a little over $5 billion. Came out recently and said that he thinks that the dollar is in trouble, the stock market's in a really bad tailspin, and he believes that gold is going to be a real safe haven, predicting that gold, quoted, he said gold should go to about 1,800, which would be about a $500 increase in the near future. And he put half of his net worth, half of that 5.3 billion, into gold. So obviously, someone that is as forward thinking as he is, someone that's willing to invest in the areas that other people won't. He was the first company to invest in North Korea for telecom. Obviously, he sees something there, and he's putting his money where his mouth is.
Is this only an international phenomenon of people investing into gold, or are there a lot of Americans doing it too?
No, it's happening everywhere. I think that in the U.S., the buying of gold over the last 30 days was down based on the U.S. Mint calculations. The selling of gold eagles was down about 25% last month. But that's really because a lot of times what you see in gold buying is you see this kind of the bull rush. So a lot of times investors will just kind of follow the trend after it's already moving up. So they'll wait until it hits 17 or 18 or 1900, like it did in 2011, and then they'll really start to buy. But the larger investors, as you mentioned, this billionaire, he sees the trend happening soon, and he wants to get in before that happens. And the interesting thing about having a billionaire that's invested in something like gold, his thinking is that if I can protect my wealth now, my family's wealth now, let it rise, take that profit at some point, maybe sell some, and then he can move into some other assets once these things pull back. Once the stock market pulls back, I'm sure he'll go heavy back in there. So I think that he likes the liquidity of gold, which is one of the things that people forget, is that, investments like real estate are great, but when the market turns, you're going to have to stay there for a while. People in 2008, it took 5-6 years before the market returned, and so that's an asset you have to hold. Gold, if it moves up tremendously, you can always liquidate it. That's what we do for clients. We help them get out of it quickly and take that profit. So I think he likes the liquidity of it. He obviously likes the price, and I think he sees something going to happen here in the future.
And obviously not all of us are billionaires. What would the average person on an average budget, what would you recommend for them to begin investing if they did want to capitalize on this potential future gold increase?
Yeah, and I think it comes down to how much are you willing to risk right now in the stock market. Most people have the majority of their net worth, if they really look at it and they look at what they have in their 401ks or their IRAs, the majority of people are in stocks, bonds, mutual funds. So the question really is, how much are you willing to be exposed there? How much are you willing to risk, especially if you're very close to retirement? Someone that's 25 or 30, they can withstand the ups and downs and the volatility of the market over all those years. But if you're 45 and older, you might not have that much time if there's a major correction right now. So I think the number, it's more of a percentage, and I think it's going to be personal for everybody. But we deal with a lot of first-time investors getting into metals, whether they're doing an IRA, whether they just want to get some gold at home. That maybe they have some money in a savings account. They're fed up making a 1/4%. It's laughable what the savings accounts pay. So it's going to depend on every person. It's going to change. Charles and I, we have more in gold than what we would recommend to other people, but because we're in this space, we feel comfortable here. But everyone's number is going to be a little bit different.
Gotcha. And speaking of the stock market, you guys definitely help people invest in gold, but you also, as noted by your background, work with Bitcoin. And one thing I saw the other week was that the NASDAQ CEO is essentially blessing Bitcoin, saying that they're a fan of it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so what they're going to be doing is they're going to be working with the Winklevoss twins, who have one of the largest exchanges, which is called Gemini, and they're going to go ahead and they've already started the process of giving that company the technology so that they can build a platform so that more investors can buy cryptocurrencies. And what that's going to do, the more access to traders that are able to buy cryptos, the better. It's better for the price. It's better for liquidity. It's going to give more access to just basically the market. So by NASDAQ, one of the major exchanges saying that they're going to go ahead and create a platform, they know that the price is going to continue to go up. They're not going to jump into this market unless they see that there's huge growth potential. So I think when you look at the price of Bitcoin, just to take one of the coins, Bitcoin right now is hitting about 9,600 as of this morning. You look where it was starting April 1st at 6,600. We're almost at a 40% gain in the last 6 weeks. So it's moving, and NASDAQ's jumping in. Where could it go? I think the price of Bitcoin and some of the major coins is really going to skyrocket here. So people that want to do it, either in an IRA, which I think is the best way to do it, because literally if you bought it April 1st and it went up 40%, you could sell it today, keep the money in the IRA, and you avoid that big tax bill, which is one of the big problems when you have big gains is that you're going to have to pay on that 40% gain. In the IRA, you keep it in the IRA, you avoid that until retirement. Nice. So I think that it's exciting that that's going to happen with cryptos, and I think that the price is still low. It's still half of where it was. Mm-hmm. Coin hit 19,000 and some change in December of last year. So there's still a lot of movement there.
So it looks like there's positive news both on the cryptocurrency front and also on the precious metal front. So what would you just say to somebody who's trying to decide which one to go into, or would you say both?
We have a lot of investors doing both. It depends. Gold and silver are typically more stable investments. They're going to outperform inflation, and they're very safe and steady. So someone that's looking at this is they just want kind of an insurance policy type of investment. That's going to be the one for them. Someone that's a little bit more risk adverse, that sees the potential with cryptocurrencies, they get our free guide, which explains Bitcoin, and we have an Ethereum guide so they can really learn about it. But someone that has some money that they're willing to risk, and they want to be a little bit dive into this market somehow and kind of get a taste of this potential, then I would say cryptos could be good for them. And we explain everything. We break down the process so anybody can understand it. It's really easy to move a 401k with our staff or an IRA. We do all the paperwork, so we make it easy once they are comfortable and they make the decision that it's something for them.
Awesome, man. Thank you for all of your knowledge here, Colin. Is there any last words you have?
No, I think we said it all. All the free guides are available. If anybody calls in and what I've been telling people is make sure if you call in about gold, make sure, and if you have questions about Bitcoin, make sure you get both. Get both guides. They're both about 5 pages. We streamline them down. Charles and I wrote them with our writers, make them so that everybody can understand them. So I would recommend getting both guides, getting educated, asking a lot of questions. And, we're always here to help anyone that's, comes in from your show. Make sure they mention your name, and we'll make sure we get that information out to them.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and drop the phone number and all the links to the ebooks down below. Thank you for coming on, Colin. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jordan. Talk to you.
Take care.